We were up early in the morning, and we hadn't very long to wait before we were told to take off and climb up over the channel. We soon ran across a squadron of German fighters, and in a few seconds the sky was full of both of us. I had a quick bearing at one of the enemy, and then at another. Then I happened to turn up sun and had joined two aircraft that were climbing, when I discovered I was following two Messerschmitt 109 fighters at only a few yards distance. In fact, I was formating on them. By the time I had realized my mistake, they had turned away from the sun, and I opened fire. I came up behind one and gave him a burst, and he dropped into the channel. When I gave the leader a burst, he exploded in midair. I returned to the base, and I found the squadron hadn't done too badly. The total for that first morning scrap was 7 destroyed. All that was between 6 and 7, and the boys were thinking of breakfast when word came through that things were blowing up again, so they sent coffee and toast out to our hut at the side of the aerodrome. As usual, no sooner had coffee arrived than we had to take off again. Off we went on the same old chase. This time I followed my flight commander round and round, but we were out of luck, although on returning we found that the squadron leader had accounted for another, and so had 2 other of our pilots. Again, we sent for more coffee and toast. The score by 9 a.m. was 10 Germans destroyed, our losses being 3 machines hit and needing repair, and 1 pilot who had bailed out during the first engagement and came down in the sea. Then the sky began to cloud over, and we were told to proceed to a convoy and patrol it. The squadron was just settling down to a dull, routine job when all of a sudden there was a most appalling noise on our RT. 3 people at once had seen about 40 bombers in groups of 3 spread over about a mile. That cheered us up a lot. The pilots were telling each other on the radio what they were going to do with this or that particular bomber when they got near it. One of the flight commanders thought that the enemy had already attacked the convoy and were on their way back, and he gave chase, only to discover they were coming towards him, and before he could slow up, he had gone through the center of them with the other 2 members of his section blazing away. This shook the German pilots so much that they immediately broke formation, which was just what we wanted, as we could deal with them better individually. The melee started. What a sight and what a scrap. The German machines were going round in steep turns. Imagine them, 40 light bombers, very maneuverable and fast. The famous Messerschmitt Jaguar 110 fighter bombers. They started chasing us, and we were chasing them, in and out of the clouds. This sort of game had been going on for a few minutes when the German fighter bombers started forming one of their famous defensive circles. By this time, there were several Germans lying in the water, all smashed up with their crews swimming around. The Spitfires were now diving in and out of the circle, never letting them complete it. I got my sights onto one bomber and gave him a long burst, and one of my tracer bullets must have hit his petrol tank, as in a few seconds he was a mass of flames when he went down into the sea. I climbed up to cloud base again, when another bomber made a dirty dart at me and went past so close that I was sure neither he nor I could get out of each other's way in time. My guardian angel must have been watching over me, and somehow or other we missed hitting. Then I was able to turn onto his tail, and a short burst silenced his rear gunner. Finally, as I closed my range, his machine rolled over and fell into the sea upside down. I popped back into the cloud again, and so back to base. On checking up figures, we found that between us we had destroyed another 10, bringing the total up to 20 enemy aircraft destroyed. After lunch, we went up again. We had been in the air about 15 minutes when we saw in the distance about 20 dive bombers and a fighter escort going in the direction of the convoy. We were able to close with the fighter escort, and a small scrap developed. I saw a straggler break away from the main flight and gave chase to him. We turned and started a dogfight. All the time he was trying to get up to the cloud again, when I got in a lovely burst of machine gun fire, and he started to lose speed. He dived. I followed him down and gave him another burst of bullets when the pilot jumped out. He was now so low that his parachute did not open, and his machine crashed onto the beach, bursting into flames and sending up a cloud of black smoke. Once back at our aerodrome, we started counting up again and found that the squadron had attacked 38 enemy aircraft, of which 21 were definitely destroyed. I had the best luck that day, as I'd attacked 8 different enemy machines, of which I got 5 confirmed as destroyed.